what's up, everybody? Chris Graham here. Joined tonight for another episode of Pizza at the Pagoda by Ben Carswell, James Watson, Mike McCullen. As always, we're going to start things off here. I can see Mike coming to us from the all-new Blue Flag Studios. We'll get into that one in a minute here. But we'll start things first. James, what are you drinking this evening?
Mountain Dew Voltage, the finest flavor they make.
I don't know that I agree with that.
What?
I'm OG.
I can expect that.
I'm old. What do you want me to tell you? Ben, what are you putting in your face this evening?
I have a Bitburger shandy thing.
That sounds about as pleasurable as well, I won't get into some of that. Mike, what are you drinking this evening? Oh, we got another one. Wait. Okay, we'll get to him. Mike, what are you drinking this evening?
You guys are going to decide for me. I have a Sam Adams Oktoberfest in one hand and a Kronenberg 1664 in the other hand. Both
Sam
are
Adams.
I got a vote for Sam. What else? Anyone else?
Please.
Whichever is the worst one.
Oh, that's the Kronenberg. I like them both, but all right. I got one vote for Sam Adams. I'll do the Sam Adams now, then we'll get into the Kronenberg later.
All right. That sounds like a fantastic idea. and here's our additional host who's just popped in here. I wonder if he can hear us or not. Jason Owens, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a fine and dandy Polar Ruby Red Grapefruit calorie and sodium-free seltzer water tonight.
Wow, that reminds me of the old Ruby Red Squirt flavor, and now I'm nostalgic and sad for my childhood.
All I can hear is an old Bartles and James commercial, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't even know that any of you guys are old enough to get a Bartles and James reference.
I'm old enough to get a Bartles and James reference.
I am
I
too.
could go grab a Little Kings off the shelf while I'm at it.
You sound so enthusiastic about being able to get that reference.
I get the reference too, Mike. But yeah, no.
No. I've got a Busch beer. The finest of Busch. The mountains of or something, whatever. It's
the
tasty.
Best swill.
I spent the last 2 weekends drinking Polish beers that ranged from really good to what the hell am I putting in my face? It's really refreshing to just have like an old standby.
All right, well, post-recording, you're going to have to tell me so I can go try them.
Yeah, some of them are good. The Polish do make some pretty good beers, and some of them are really not.
It's funny you mentioned that, Chris. We were just looking up where we're going on fall break, and it's this little town in the hills of northern Georgia, and there's a Polish restaurant there that has a ton of like Polish beers I've never even heard of on the menu. I'm pretty excited for it.
You know what? If you want good Polish food, you come see my wife. She is an absolute rock star in the kitchen. I do like Polish food, I will say that. All right. Let's recap Portland here. The headline from the IndyCar release says, Palou seizes series lead with improbable victory at Portland.
Was it really that improbable for Dixon Jr.?
in a old Dixon livery? Come on.
Yeah, I love the
Dixon livery.
Yeah, I really liked the old Target Chip Ganassi vibes with them running the same paint scheme like they used to. It was kind of nice.
Well, Rosenquist got up there at the start, and it was just like or Townsend, I think, was like, "Look at the third blue and orange car," and it's like, "Oh my god!"
I'll hide amongst the Ganassis. No one will notice me until I hit them.
Just hide in plain sight, blend in.
Yes,
Day 62, they still haven't noticed that I'm mixed in. They still think I'm one of them.
Yeah, until you
and Chip
absolutely
still doesn't love me.
bury them. So, all right. So, taking a look at the official final race results here, they're not going to tell the whole story. Alex Palou is your race winner over Alexander Rossi, who I guess he decides the last 3 weeks is time to show up. And Scott Dixon, no surprise there. We'll save the turn one carnage. Well, okay. Well, we can go into this now. The turn one carnage. Did we expect anything less or more from that?
More. No one was airborne and no one was upside down.
Exactly.
That was tame.
I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting death. There was more almost death in the F1 race, but that's a topic for a later date, a later time stamp.
Not on the show outline.
Yeah, that's a different show. Ben had actually picked Takuma Sato to be completely airborne and air Sato. Christian, who we can address this one now, I guess. Our condolences to Christian. He had a death in the family. That's why he is not joining us this week. But he will be back next week. He had Marcus Ericsson going for his third flight of the year. Jason said Scotty Mack. Mike said it would be Hinch, and I said it would be Connor Daly. And none of them were airborne at any point during the weekend, which was really disappointing.
Hinch did take terminal damage on turn one, so I guess I win.
Yeah, Grosjean tried to help you out there. Tried to get him airborne.
What do we make of Grosjean's comments after the race? Apparently, he forgot how to convert meters to feet. He read the signboards as being in meters and went, this is a good place to hit the brakes.
And if NASA can do it, I'll give Grosjean a pass.
I just don't believe that.
I don't either. Nobody thinks like that. I mean, maybe Grosjean does, and that might explain some things about his past, but I feel like he was trying to make a joke, and it just got lost in translation.
That sounds exactly like what it was to me.
I know that.
I mean, think of that dry, like. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
No, it's like family friend interviewed with a company that's headquartered in France today, and the interview guy was so blunt and to the point. Like, I'm sure Romain thought he was like being in a joking manner, and it just came across so dry.
He's also Swiss, and the Swiss are just known for their sense of humor.
So yeah, I think that's a joke that somebody didn't hear correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The F1 world of F1 is measured in millimeters and milliseconds. You're not calculating braking points to the meter. You're just not doing it because you can't be that precise.
Yeah, they're a static reference. You say, I brake at the 200 for this corner every time. I brake between the 200 and the 100. You don't look at that and go, I have, and maybe I'm not an F1 driver and I'm a shitty sim racer, so maybe I'm wrong here, but I look at the boards and I go, I brake near one of these. And sometimes I get it right.
Yeah, I always thought they were always in meters no matter what. So that was a bit of a double take for me. I'm like, wait, there's a difference? I thought they were 300, 200, and then stop at some point.
I honest to God
the American
it was
ones
just
in yards.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I
And there's some tracks that do that. I think Sebring is one where it's just numbers. Like, there's no references, and maybe there's missing zeros, but I've seen a lot of tracks where there's just numbers and as a reference. I think IMS is like that too, actually.
The ovals just have cones. They put 3 cones in the fence, cones. 2 cones, 1 cone. Because they did that at Pocono, and Pocono was measured out correctly. But the drivers are accustomed to seeing the cones on ovals. So they put the cones there.
You're just looking for a reference, whatever that reference is. Hell, some of them might not even be using, the signboards. I mean, at like Lime Rock, for example, heading down into the chicane, there's not even a marker. You break in a tree. So I don't know. I think he he was trying to make a funny, but he's Swiss French, so
They're just
it
not
missed.
funny.
It was a Swiss miss, did you say?
Yes, and I was gonna say I mean, the times I've seen Simona, I thought she was incredibly funny. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's the French in him coming out.
Yeah.
Our French friends that are listening here, whatever, get over it.
Where's Sebastian Kinder at tonight?
Yeah. Sorry, Seb. Right now he is fast asleep.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like something like 5 a.m. his time. All right, so looking here at the rest of the race, what do we make of what I think was a massive strategy blunder by the Rahal team? They had a chance to get Graham Rahal onto pit road, and they basically just missed it. And
I mean, it's the
this was
metaphorical leaving the lug nut off. Like,
I don't know what they were thinking.
It
made no
took
sense.
one of the fastest cars on the racetrack and relegated him to what I think probably was the best he was going to get in a 10th place finish.
It just baffles me. Like, at some point, you have to say, all right, this caution screwed up our strategy. We're going to have to account for that, not just, all right, well, we'll keep doing what we're doing, because they didn't adapt, and I feel like that's the story for RLO. I don't know, they missed that. They missed that entirely. I think every single person watching that race was all screaming in unison, going, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? This makes no sense.
I mean, Graham led 36 laps, which was 7 more than Alex Palou did, who was your second highest lap leader. That was about as bonehead of a call as I think you could possibly make. He got the 2-stop strategy, but he didn't even finish with the 2-stop cars. Jack Harvey finished 4th on 2 stops. Newgarden finished 5th on 2 stops. They screwed the pooch entirely. They had what could have been a race-winning strategy call and just threw it out the window. I don't... Something tells me that team is a little bit lost right now.
Right now?
Yeah, I was going to say, they've always kind of been that way.
I think they just don't have, like, they just don't seem to have, like, a thing. There's no, like, just out there running around. You know? It doesn't feel like they're working toward anything. It just feels like they're out there driving around. Like, Ganassi's there to win. He's there to win. McLaren's there to win. Andretti's there to win. These guys like Foyt, Coyne, they're there to run well. Get a good run in.
Here's what I don't get. I'm looking at the final data from this race. Rahal led the race. He was on a two-stop fuel save strategy. Finished 10th. He finished with the most push to pass, with 111 seconds to push to pass less. The only person who had more than him was Castroneves, and he finished 19 laps down, and he had 130 because his day ended early. So, I mean, not only was he on a strategy that got blown up by the caution, it didn't even benefit him from. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. It makes no sense. I think at that point you come in and you say, "Hey, look, yeah, our strategy got blown up. Let's pit you from the lead, fill you up, have you run to the end, and you've got what you need to finish."
And now, okay, we're having that conversation that they're screwing up strategy. They ruined his 500 that he had a legitimate shot to win. That number 15 team is 3rd overall in the Firestone pit stop standings compiled by IndyCar. I don't get it. It's Points are awarded after each race based on the shortest amount of time accumulated in pit lane. And the
Yeah, I think they
15
wanted to
team-
have him in for another 8 seconds on Sunday.
Yeah, they probably should have. But I don't get, like, that tells me that your pit crew and your strategy calls are pretty solid because the points mirror the race points. So Joseph Newgarden is leading that one, his Team Penske number 2 team. But then again, maybe not, because Pagenaud is second in that. And, well, we know what's coming for Mr. Pagenaud here in the next couple of weeks.
Bad luck for the French.
Sad French noises.
I was going to say, I think that's more of just Pagenaud racing his way out of a job. What do we make of some of his actions this weekend? He was very much in line with Ryan Hunter-Reay in terms of thought process. I ain't going to be here, and I don't got to pay to fix this shit either.
That was the best comment. RHR is driving like he doesn't have to pay the carbon fiber bill.
I'm just sitting here happy that there was Penske on Penske violence, and it wasn't Will's fault this time.
For once.
For once, exactly. Those moments don't happen often, so I have to celebrate them when they do. Because as soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, no, not again. But then I watched the replay, I'm like, hey, wait, it's not his fault this time. Hooray, party.
Now, here's the thing and this is definitely for another show. If these cars had onboard starters, Ray Hall would have won that race. Because that pit stop, if I remember correctly, that yellow was for a stalled car that they had to go bring the safety guys out for. If they had onboard starters, unless I'm mistaking what one brought out the caution that screwed up Ray Hall's race, I thought that was the Pagenaud spin. If they had onboard starters, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. So maybe Ray Hall's just 3 years ahead.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he's certainly playing 4D chess, that's for sure.
Okay, now, looking at some of the other stuff that has come out of this weekend, obviously Grosjean did himself no favors in this fight with Scotty Mack finishing in 9th. However, the point difference in the rookie battle is 38 points. Could Grosjean get there? I mean, I know he can mathematically.
McLaughlin needs 2 bad races.
Or a Grosjean win.
Man, I thought he had a shot yesterday.
He just didn't look like he got that track. I think he even said that. He said he just didn't understand the place.
Which is crazy because it's Monza is a knockoff of that track. So
not you two.
Oh my God.
Heard one. The rest of the track is different.
I just had to go there. I think Wes paid me some bribe money to say that.
I was just bummed they didn't work G.I. Joes into the broadcast somehow.
That was disappointing. What do we make of Paul Tracy being banished to turn 1? Like, the one spot where you could have a flying race car that would maybe kill the pit reporter who's standing trackside, and NBC sends Paul Tracy there.
Especially after the Saturday practice session where they pulled up all of his Portland turn 1 shenanigans over the years and rubbed his face in it. It was hilarious.
I'm pretty sure somebody, the person who okayed that, was watching that and watching the start of the Portland race and was thinking like, man, why couldn't the incident that happened in the F1 race happen in this race right then and there? Because clearly someone had something against Paul Tracy to put him all the way down in the shadow realm.
I turned on the race and I didn't even know what had happened. And I'm just like, Did they banish Paul Tracy again?
Somebody got an
What did
idea
he
from
do
watching.
now?
Somebody watched the NASCAR race at Watkins Glen and said, "Oh, we should do that too."
But
I
they
will say this: I would be completely on board with that. If they were to take the booth that they have, throw in a couple of experienced voices in other parts of the racetrack, calling Laguna Seca radio style and passing that call off. Yes, I am on board for it.
Yep.
Well, they'll
all in
definitely
on that.
have Hinchcliffe working for him next year, so they could stick him in a corner.
Yeah, just go stand in the corkscrew.
I have it on pretty good authority that Hinch isn't going where.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, we got another insider?
I mean,
la-di-da.
according to how this person interacts, I have not heard anything that to suggest that Hinch is going anywhere. Hinch has the funding pretty well locked up. I'd be shocked. As far as everything I know, he's not going. But then again,
Okay.
I don't really know any.
So
we add Hinch to our list of pay drivers?
So here's what I've heard about that seat specifically. Andretti. They have the two rookies coming up, Kirkwood and DeFrancesco. Grosjean is all but confirmed to go to Andretti. It's a done deal at this point. Right? They're just working on his engineer to try and get him there too, or to not have him there. DeFrancesco has the Steinbrenner connection because that's technically an Andretti Steinbrenner seat.
The 29 is, yeah.
Yeah. That was what Herta ran in 2019. 2022, I think. So I'm mixing up my years, but that was what Herta ran. And so the theory is that they could have a fifth Andretti car, but pass it off as the Steinbrenner car, put DeFrancesco in that, and I guess they could keep Hinch. But
if Hinch has got the money and Michael's got the engineering staff to do it, and the genesis of that car, if I remember correctly, is that was Harding Steinbrenner.
Well done.
Hey,
well done.
The genesis of it.
Oh,
Nice,
I
Mike.
wasn't even going there. I didn't even think about that. But that was Harding Steinbrenner, and that was. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. That was that Harding Steinbrenner that they had a technical alliance with Andretti, but it was a loose one because they were still running Chevys. Then that whole thing got absorbed into Andretti in 2020, and that became a full Andretti car. And Harding went bye-bye. It would be interesting to see if Steinbrenner is going to find another partner and make that a true Andretti B team as opposed to just being a car with the Andretti Steinbrenner name.
I have to take a look here and find the official entry list though, because some of these Andretti cars are starting to sound like Dale Coyne entries in their naming conventions.
The Marco car by far had the best name. It was. I don't even remember who all was associated with that one. I think that might be the Herta car now too. Which just has an insanely long name.
Yes, it was the Andretti Autosport with Curb Agajanian and somebody else with Marco Andretti.
Oh.
It was a disgusting mouthful of a team name. It's an Andretti car. I get that you need to have the team owner's name somewhere in there, but I'm getting that kind of feeling that it's like the Dale Coyne cars that are Dale Coyne with Rick Ware Racing in association with Brian Herta Autosport. And you go, wait, huh? Brian Hurd is not there anymore. Why is it still say there's some weird stuff that goes on with IndyCar entrant names? So to go back to James's point on Hinch's car, my understanding is that's done deal. and Hinch will not be in that seat next season.
If he's got funding, he could go to Coin.
He could go to Coin. There's a lot of seats that Hinch could go to if he has the funding. I don't know that Hinch has the fund. It's exactly like the Gainbridge deal that Zach Veach's pastor made the connection, and Zach Veach brought the money to Andretti, and then Andretti just screwed him out of the deal.
Zach Veach screwed himself out of a deal by driving like crap in Gainbridge.
Yes, but my point was Andretti took what should have been a personal services plus team sponsor deal and turned it into a team sponsor deal.
It's good business.
Well, if Michael's not going to buy Alfa Romeo, maybe he'll just run 7 cars. Put that money over here and just run half the IndyCar field as Andretti / this / that /
God,
how long before Andretti Watson Racing?
Just you wait.
Beat you. I beat you to that one.
You don't know what I got going on. I always be hustling.
Cars were bad. Wait for these ones.
Hey, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of pink Andretti cars. You don't know why they're pink.
I'm fairly certain we do, but
we are way off the rails.
Yeah, really. Good Lord. All right.
Wow.
We'll continue with the silly season chat here. And we'll kind of fold it back into the Portland race as well. What do we make of the debut performance of Mr. Callum Eilert?
Other than turn 1 on the opening lap, I thought he acquitted himself well.
Car blew up on him, didn't it?
A mechanical issue.
Yeah.
There was some odd pieces of carbon fiber stuck up in the under tray and side pod of that car.
Welcome back to the big leads, Ricardo. Here's a new damage bill for you.
That was the one I really felt bad for. It was like they were hoping for a nice, clean show up, turn the laps, and get the hell out of their weekend. And they did that until,
lap 1, turn 1.
Every idiot ahead of them decided to wad up turn 1.
I was half expecting Ricardo to pull the start from pit lane challenge with Eilert there at the start of the race.
What is this, Indy fixed?
I mean, it wasn't a bad idea.
No, if you're looking to turn laps and get this kid a lot of experience, that's probably not the worst way to do it.
Yeah, Portland is a heck of a track to go for your first keep it on the track run. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it's the last West Coast stretch and you can really cut costs just going straight, A to B to C, but yeah.
This whole
conversation that we've had, sorry, James, but a conversation that we've had over and over on this podcast has been driving standards. That these guys have crap driving standards, and they did it again in this race. If you look at F1 and Monza, and F1 had its own issues. They didn't wad up a bunch of cars on lap 1, turn 1.
They just waited
Monza.
to halfway through the race where they wadded cars up.
Yeah, but then they only wadded up a handful of cars at a time. But it looks bad on a broadcast when, again, top flight of American open wheel racing, these guys are supposed to be the best in the world at driving Indy cars, and it looks like a bottom split race at Monza. It's inexcusable, and the driving standards in this series need to be seriously addressed going forward because it's embarrassing. And we as IndyCar fans keep making excuses for the guys, to people that, again, we have a lot of new fans. We got a lot of NASCAR fans watching. We got a lot of F1 fans watching, and they're all going, "The hell? What is this?"
Right. Well, how about Ryan Hunter-Reay's wife subtweeting a fellow driver over that contact on track? Did anybody else catch that?
No.
No.
It was hilariously stupid.
Okay, so regale us in the details then.
Did she delete it yet? Because I'm gonna go find it.
I don't know if she deleted it or not, but basically, what I thought was a racing deal between Grosjean and RHR, two guys going for the same piece of tarmac. It basically seemed like she was calling for a penalty.
Well, they're also going for the same seat. Not that RHR is going for it anymore. but-
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
It's
there's
his
probably a
seat
little
now.
more to it than that.
But,
You're
I mean, that's
taking my
just-
husband's job, right? Like, I'm sure that's
They
part of
took
it.
her jobs. Damn foreigners coming in and taking our jobs.
I was just gonna say it.
I'm glad somebody
She
else
must be
knew
hanging it with-
exactly where I was. Like, that was a softball right down the middle of the plate.
She must be taking lessons from Emma.
Now, to continue that discussion, though, where does he go next season? We can keep playing the silly season game here.
So
Retirement on his boat.
we'll kill some people in Michelin Pilot Challenge races. Just for fun. Just go knock some people upside the head. That's what I would do if I was a retired professional race car driver. I would just go to some like lower level casual series with pro-am guys and I would pull a Juan Pablo Montoya. Just crush everyone. Then be like, I'm the greatest in the world.
He's going to win the
Did
bronze driver category of the Le Mans 24 Hour next year.
He wins the amateur GT3 section of some WEC race and some track, and then tells everybody that he's won a triple crown.
Did you just call the WEC an IMSA amateur though?
He did. Oh my lord!
I did.
Okay.
Oh, Wes is going to be so
Outside
mad.
of hypercars.
Angry
Yeah.
West, angry Homestead coffee noises.
Yeah. I on behalf of Wes.
You should go run
No.
WTCC. That's what I would do. Go run some like
But that's-
hilarious, fun series where you get to bang doors and
Yeah,
go to cool tracks and
you
just
go
have
to-
fun.
Go to Australia and run the Mustang versus VW Bug or the Mustang versus Mini series. You guys ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Elaborate.
What?
Yes. Mustangs
What?
versus
You've never
Minis.
seen this,
Oh my
Mike?
God.
How have I missed this
It's
one?
some of the most okay. So they put them on tracks where they basically make the same lap times, but obviously they make it in completely different ways, and it is some of the most amazing racing you'll ever see.
Minis
We got-
flying around Mustangs in the corners, making them look like they're standing still. And then they get out on the straightaways, and all you watch is Mustangs just come, gone. Here, gone.
So it's like a real life production card challenge, except with minis instead of the Slostis.
Yes.
Sign
Have I
me
missed-
the hell up.
It was pretty darn fantastic. It's a great show because, like Jason said, the cars make about the same lap time. They just do it completely different. It's so stupid it works. Now
That is amazing.
I was just watching the replays, the onboards of the start here from Portland this past weekend. Pato Award was completely out of control. Scott Dixon went full nutcase into turn one. That was about one of the more un-Dixon like things I've ever seen him do.
I think
Well, there was
Rosenquist
some-
ran into him.
Yeah, there was some speculation that Rosenquist got his tire just enough to make it
Yeah,
look like. I still think he was going in hot.
exactly. Yeah,
That
it was-
made it like it was a low margin move, like a very low percentage move. But then he got tapped on the tire, and he had no chance to stop.
His
Dixon
hands were
is
rocking back
driving-
and forth.
There is some frantic driving out of Dixon that we have not seen before.
The
I
ice-
think he is.
Sorry, Mike. I was gonna pop in
No,
with
go
this
ahead.
joke. The
I
Iceman
cut you off before.
cracketh.
The Iceman's melting.
How
Yes.
about
Global warming.
yeah? How about old 7-time giving Palou tips on how to handle the pressure?
Is that Jimmy Johnson's biggest contribution to that team this season? Is talking Alex Palou off the ledge?
I think it's a pretty big contribution
I think
too.
it's
Like
huge. That's probably
Dixon
where
is
every
fighting him. He's not
dollar
gonna
that
help him.
Chip has paid him.
I mean, if you want to have a mentor, Dixon's like, I don't think Dixon is particularly interested in helping Pillow solidify his championship lead, like, at all. And Jimmy is like here having fun with his thing. And
Yeah,
I
mean,
I would.
but don't forget, Pillow also has Dario in his corner too. And if there's anyone to teach you how to drive an Indy car and how to deal with pressure, it's Dario. I mean, and I think I've seen comparisons that he drives like Dario. And how about that comment on the broadcast? And I think we immediately called this one out in the Discord, and Jason and I were both like, "Holy crap!" The Ganassi guys saying that Pillow reminds him of
Zanardi.
Zanardi, yeah, that is the highest compliment.
Of high compliments that the
Yeah.
shop guys say off the record that he reminds them of Zanardi. That's huge.
Yeah. That is something. And that is something that definitely is a big deal.
Yeah, that is. Zanardi was as much renowned for work ethic as he was natural skill. And to have those kinds of comments, that is truly as high a praise as you're going to get from the crew guys. Now, granted, they're talking off the record, so there are some things that people will say, yeah, go ahead, you can quote me on this. And there's other things that they'll say, no, this has to be off the record. And it's as much bullshit as if they were on the record, because they just don't want their name attached to it. So some of that stuff you kind of go, yeah, okay. Continuing with our silly season discussion, though, we touched on Juncos. We have the Andretti Autosport questions that we've sort of answered. What do we think could possibly go on with Carlin? Because one of the interesting things that I'm kind of seeing as putting pieces together, we could have as many as 28 cars on the grid next season, full-time, every race cars. Is there any chance that Carlin was not spewing that same line of bullshit that we're going to try to have 2 cars on the grid?
I mean, there's that rumor from Marshall last week that HMD is looking to move up with, Malukas and my brain quit working, and
Lindquist.
Yeah, Lindquist, and run them both in a partnership tie-up with Carlin, So there's like a ton of options out there of things that could happen.
Makes a lot of sense for Carlin. I don't know what they do with Chilton. I mean, Chilton's not a bad driver by any means, and he's got.
He had a really strong race this weekend.
Good.
Okay,
He's really fast and practice and quality
might be a stretch.
He is a serviceable,
solid at best. Like he doesn't destroy the car, but
okay.
Be wary of bringing 2 rookies, however talented those 2 rookies are, into a backmarker team, because it's happening in another open wheel series and it's going very poorly. And it's kind of sketchy.
Is it fair to call Max Chilton the Mendoza line of IndyCar?
The Childoza line? I'm good with that.
Oh.
I see. I don't necessarily think that's fair to certain guys that may be above the Childoza line here. He's currently 25th in points. No, that can't be accurate, because Dalton Kellett is currently sitting 24th in points.
Well, but remember, Chilton missed Indy Road 1.
Okay.
Yeah, he missed Indy Road 1.
They had the
he doesn't
visa
do the
issue,
ovals.
and he doesn't run the ovals. So
Okay.
All right, so where is Chilton in relation to Jimmy Johnson?
Max Chilton is 25th in points, sitting at 110. Jimmy Johnson is 28th in points at 82.
Never mind.
Yeah, Max Chilton is not the Mendoza line of IndyCar. Honest to God, I think it's James Hinchcliffe. He's going to do just enough to maybe keep a job next season.
This year for Hinch has been weird too, with the leg, and I don't know about Hinch this year. He's had a really bad year.
Wasn't the story early in the season that because of the outside sporting injury, we don't know if it's like skiing or snowboarding or skateboarding, who knows what it was. It was some sporting injury. He couldn't properly brake on the street courses because he didn't have enough leg strength in his left leg. Like, that was a thing, right? Like, I didn't just invent that in my head.
James, you want to take that?
Yep, I can confirm that with the source that is in fact true. So it's kind of remarkable Hinch is doing what he's doing considering all that. So I feel like that is why you could feasibly say that he has another chance, because the fact that he was having to drive hurt. If he's still putting up similar results with no injury, then next season, he's probably going to be on the way out. But I feel like that and his sponsors loving him is the reason why he's going to be able to get another year out. I believe this is just hypothesis. I'm not speaking on anything official. I know nothing official.
It's just weird to me that he'd conceal an injury like that. Like, but it's an open secret. Everyone knows that he hurt himself and was struggling to brake it properly. Yet, it like they didn't say anything. It's just weird to me that they'd conceal an injury like that.
Concealed to us. I mean, the team probably knows. Otherwise, he might have gotten the ask.
Right, it's not like Askew concealment where, I got a concussion and I'm not going to tell the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing to say that, like, if it's an open secret in the paddock, like, I can't believe, like, none of the media personnel have been like, hey, Hinch, so we hear you hurt yourself. What's the deal with that? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a weird open secret.
That sort of tells me that it was something that might be either frowned upon or this isn't the right word, but potentially scandalous reason for the injury.
Did he get naked again?
Scandalous. Did he hurt himself stripping? Like, where are you going with that? What a word choice.
Okay, how many, that's sort of the direction I'm going. How many times do you hear of baseball players who end up on the disabled list because they had an incident at home that turned into somebody was hanging off the ceiling and the landing didn't stick well, but it was an injury at home, and that's all that gets said about it. When there's
Joel Zamaya's career-ending Guitar Hero injury,
John Wall last year. John Wall tore his ACL. Wizards now, Rockets now, wherever he plays, tore his ACL falling down the stairs.
Well, I'm sure that, like the Venn diagram on this one is me. And that's the Andrew Luck snowboarding injury that he had to get European stem cells for and ended up causing his retirement. So, yeah.
One of the pitchers for the A's also tore a ligament in his hand getting pissed off at a video game.
I thought you were going somewhere completely different.
Baseball players hurting themselves moving. All right. Yeah, I don't know.
As we're having this discussion, this thought of the Mendoza line, since we keep referencing baseball here, this has
become a very baseball heavy podcast.
I'm cool with it.
Here's where I'm sort of kind of chuckling at this, though. We're talking about 20 plus cars, 24 to 28 cars full time on the grid next season. Connor Daly may be out of a ride. He's currently 18th in points. Ed Jones will likely be out of a ride. He's 19th in points. Hinch is a question mark, 20th in points. Do we really want 7 or 8 children driving these cars over established IndyCar guys?
I think someone has to. I don't know.
It's a response.
One of the things
Sure.
that's good about IndyCar opposed to F1 is that there's just it's so much easier to get into. And so, keeping in that, I'd like to see the kids get a shot. And
But they're not getting a shot in good cars.
What has Connor Daly done that says, yeah, I want to keep him on my team?
Grew a mullet.
He has a lot of sponsorship money.
He's a crazy good ambassador for the United States Air Force.
He is awesome for them, but
the funny thing is, he could never serve in the Air Force. He is physically incapable of serving in the Air Force, but he is the #1 ambassador for the Air Force, and I find that incredibly ironic that he would not be allowed to serve in the Air Force, but he spends all of his time and efforts promoting them as hard as he can. And
why can he not serve in the Air Force?
He's a diabetic.
Oh,
It's a disqualification. It's an instant disqualification.
To be fair, I was almost disqualified for not having a crown on a tooth that had a perfectly good filling in it. So the Air Force is like that.
Yeah, but even the best managed type 1 diabetic is not allowed to serve in the United States military, and it is an instant disqualifier. And if you are diagnosed in the military, you are medically discharged.
Yep, separated.
Sounds like the military.
Yes.
Yeah, separated.
So, looking at some of these other questions that we have going forward, what other moves are we thinking about, expecting, going, that could be interesting?
So I think Ganassi is 100% set for next year. Obviously, Dixon ain't going anywhere. Pelot's not going anywhere. Marcus is re-signed for next year. Jimmy Johnson has his retirement seat all locked up. So I think Ganassi's all set. I don't know. What else we got on the grid?
Can we start calling that the MCL car next year?
MCL?
Yeah.
List.
He said it was the retirement car. So, like, what else do you have to do when you're retired? You go to MCL for early dinner.
What is MCL? Is this a Midwestern restaurant? I'm not familiar with.
Is this like a regional thing?
This is an Indiana reference that nobody gets, apparently.
Yeah.
MCL is only... No, get out.
What does it stand for?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought it was like a joke because they're old and they tore their MCL.
Right,
I did
the
joke?
too.
Is that
Jason,
not the joke?
explain.
What is the name of the restaurant, Jason?
MCL Cafeterias is a chain of American cafeteria-style restaurants based in Indianapolis. I just thought it was a national chain. I guess there's only 13 of them in Indiana.
There's only 6 of them in Indianapolis. So if you're not within a, I don't know, 8-minute drive of the Speedway, you don't get the reference.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm just glad. I thought this was some reference I'm too California to understand. Apparently, I'm not Indianian enough to understand. Good gracious.
Well, clearly you guys don't know what indie means.
We don't.
We don't know the early bird specials, but you can enlighten us all you want there, Jason.
You can take us for RIO.
Yeah.
Here's a quick MCL story. I went one time with my dad, right? And it was a little after 5:00, and we go to get in line, and he's like, "Oh, hold up." And he lets this little old lady go in front of us, and lets another one go. And I'm like, Dad, if you're going to let little old ladies go in front of us, we're never going to eat.
Moving on. Is Jimmy Johnson a full-time car next season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a full-time car, but I don't think he runs Texas. I bet he's IMS only. That's my call at this point.
I think he does the whole thing. Grosjean does the whole thing. He does the whole thing.
He's definitely going to do
I think
Iowa.
he's in.
I think he'll do.
Does
I think
Grosjean,
there'll be
like-
one Texas race.
Does Grosjean walk up to him in the paddock and be like, "You don't have a hand on your nuts if you don't"?
Was that Russian? What
yeah,
was that?
what in the world?
It was the Polish
Give up. Yes, it
driver
was.
in the
That is exactly what it was.
It's Kibitz.
Too many Polish accents
In
rubbing off on
Driven
Chris.
2.
Dude,
God,
still
I'm not even
driven.
going near that one.
driven.
All right.
Don't
Penske.
let Still Driven out.
All right. Yeah, Penske said they were going 3 if they don't retain Pagano, which they're not going to.
So
So they'll be 3.
Penske is confirmed with 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
RLL, speaking of 3 cars, they have that 3rd, and then
Rahal, Harvey, and who?
so it's Askew is the obvious like number 1 pick there.
But Sato said he's not going anywhere.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, but Sato brings Honda money, and as long as Honda's willing to pay him,
I was just going to say, Sato has a ride with that team perpetually if he wants it.
Yeah.
The
I think
word
Sato has
to
a ride
come-
with any Honda team if he wants it.
Not all the Honda
So
teams.
if you're RLL, why would you give up the piles of free or cheap engine leases that comes with having Sato in your program? That just seems silly to me.
So if they go keep Rahal, Sato, and just put Harvey in the 3rd car,
I sort of think that's the lineup.
I think that makes the most sense.
right? So if we call it that, then Meyershank, Elio is confirmed for next year. Agino is highly rumored to be the other guy, and then to do the IndyCar / IMSA program where he does both the DPI or whatever LMDH program.
But that's not till 23.
Yeah, but he's only like 30 something. He'll be fine. Sports car racing.
I don't see Pagano taking a year off, though. You really don't like sports car racing, and I'm not sure how I feel about you anymore. I'm not letting you share a hotel room with me anymore. This sports car racing hatred has to go.
It's just I don't.
I can be on
I think
board
we'll
with
be
it
there
at
next
times.
year. I think I enjoy sports car racing. It's very complicated and it's very difficult to understand. And
It's not that hard. Fast cars go fast. Slightly slower cars go slightly slower. Rich guys in fast cars screw things up. That's all you need to know. That's sports cars.
I think
Anyways,
Pagano probably is rumored to go to Meyershank next year, and then he'll be there to help their LMDH program 23.
If you want
That is the
Pagano
big
for 23, you get him on the books now for 22. You give him a season in IndyCar, and let him run with it. Do they stay at 2?
Yeah. There's
think
no
so.
way they go to 3 and there's like in this year. That's just
because that puts them at 2 Indy cars and the 1 DPI. And I think that's all the stuff that they're involved in. I don't think they don't have a GT3 program anymore. So I think that makes the most sense.
They have a sticker on an IP2K car.
Yes, they do.
So now you start to get to some of the interesting question marks, because we have not yet uttered the name of Romain Grosjean and where he is potentially going, which that looks like it's going to be one of the 4 Andretti cars.
The math on Andretti is really weird. It's not adding up. something is off. Because Herta and Rossi are there. They'll be there next year. Barring something incredible happening. So we got 2. Grosjean is the worst kept secret that he's going to be in the 28 next year. So that's 3. Hinch has been rumored to be out, even heavily rumored to be out, with DeFrancesco, the guy coming in. What happens to Kyle Kirkwood? And do they do that sort of Andretti Steinbrenner separate team, but it's really the 5th Andretti car? They put Kirkwood in the 4th Andretti proper.
Here's where we start running into issues, though. It's a large, like, we are legitimately running out of all of the Indy cars in the world.
Yeah, we're running
There
out of
are
engine leases. We're running out of Polara
there's a
chassis.
finite amount of Indy cars.
And we're running out of Mid-Ohio and
can
Toronto pit stalls. Like,
Yeah, we're running out of pit stalls. We're running out of engine leases. We're running out of chassis. Like, at some point, we have to say, yeah, this is where we are. And it's a good problem to have because we haven't even gotten into all the F1 guys and all of the F2 guys who are like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's go look at IndyCar. We have a legitimate backlog of drivers. It's Coin's not going to announce anything until like a week before the first preseason test next year. We know that that's going to be the case. If Penske goes to 3 cars, Juncos is only going to do 1. ECR's hanging on to VK. So then you've got a spot there.
Somebody was rumored for ECR. I think it was Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Yeah, and that would make sense. You take RHR, Captain America, stick him with Ed.
Air Force would be happy with him if they stuck around and Daly was there.
Clean shaven, short hair, he'll work.
Clean shaven, strong jaw, Captain America.
As a family, it'll work. Not some crazy guy with a mullet. Or a Dutch driver who goes cycling. He can't represent the Air Force, he goes cycling.
It's also Dutch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
He did the Navy.
I don't think that a non-U.S. citizen can represent the U.S. military.
I'm pretty sure that's a clause in the funding.
He can represent the Dutch military.
I know that there have been issues with what drivers appear in military branded cars. So long as the driver is talented and fits it, the team has to come up with somebody else that's going to be the activating partner, basically. So then I guess the next question becomes, what are we looking at from McLaren? Because we talked about Coin's going to have 2 cars. Juncos is going to have their 1. Carpenter's going to be a 2-car team.
That whole third McLaren car rumor has been super, like, silent for the last 6 weeks. Like, something got worked out and nobody is talking about it.
So that was the thing that was reported, was that the third McLaren car was like...
I thought I heard Pagano.
So what McLaren was saying was like, well, we're thinking about it. We really want to do it in 23, which is coincidentally when all these, Herta VK contracts come off the
Daniel
books.
Ricciardo.
I can only dream of Daniel Ricciardo. I can only dream. Oh, that would be so awesome. But those are when those contracts come off the book. And so they're looking at the guys. They were like, if we could get someone young and promising in there in 22, we will. If we don't, we just won't. We're not going to just stick somebody in there just to run a third car. It was kind of
I think if somebody slammed down a briefcase full of cash, they'd.
I think they would consider it, but who's going to do that? RHR? Does he have a briefcase full of cash? Could he bring DHL to McLaren?
Does he need to? Like, again, it's McLaren. They've got some cash. And now that's a full McLaren team. That's not Schmidt, Peterson, Arrow, McLaren, whatever the hell we're calling it. That is a full McLaren factory team.
McLaren is just killing it in racing right now.
Zach Brown.
Zach Brown is a hero. In
Zach
25
Brown
years,
single-handedly rescued that team.
In 25 years, there will be a documentary about Zach Brown, and he will be heralded as a Rick Hendrick, Toto Wolff, Nasty level motorsports leader. Because the stuff he's done.
If you look at
F1,
what he's doing around the world,
his sports car programs are incredible.
And I mean, he's
Extreme E.
Between United, United Autosport. He's got Walkinshaw, Andretti, United. So there's the tie-in with Andretti. He's got the tie-in in supercars with Chaz Mostert and I forget his second driver in there. We are way off the rails.
Yeah. Okay. So let's circle back here. McLaren, we're expecting 2 or 3 cars next season.
2.
I think we expect 2, and if there's a third, it wouldn't be a huge deal. I think we'd go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Another of the lineups that we think is confirmed, Kellett and Bourdais in the Foyt camp.
That makes sense.
I think so, but there was a huge rumor dropped by Pruitt about Calderon in one of those cars this week.
She tested with them.
She tested,
that
but like
fantastic.
he wouldn't put it in print if there wasn't smoke there, right? Like,
I think it was more of a. Foyt can't run 3 cars, can they?
They have. I mean, they're
but
running out Charlie Kimball for Long Beach, just probably because he has a contract with them to run a race, and he didn't run the 500. So he's like, can I get my home race in, please?
Just
I mean,
like
I'm not saying it's going to
to
happen or likely, but I mean, I really don't think Pruitt would just like throw that in.
No, I don't think Marshall would
some
throw
of
that
this
out if
stuff.
there wasn't smoke there.
One of the things and Marshall and Robin Miller are both kind of known amongst the journalist corps as being guys that have a little bit of sway is not the right word.
No, but making opportunities for people that may not have them.
Connections, yes. So it would also not surprise me if that printing a rumor like that, because he knows some of the initial conversations, doesn't help move that along.
Here's the thing with Calderon. I fully believe that we need more women in IndyCar. We had a great run with Danica, with Pip and Ben, and the last couple of years there have been no women in IndyCar. There have been no female prospects in IndyCar. So I certainly would support more women drivers in IndyCar, but Calderon, just there's more talented women out there to.
Yeah, Simona
Chadwick
first.
Simona, yeah, Simona, Chadwick. You can go to the W Series and pick some of them out. I mean, there's a shitload of female talent in the W Series. There's a shitload of female talent in motorsports that isn't Tatiana Calderon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Can we? So one thing I was like legitimately surprised by is I expected a bunch of the knuckle dragging idiots after that wreck in Spa with the W Series to come out of the woodwork and be like, oh, and I didn't see much of that. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
They're too busy hating Bubba. They've got their own shit.
They're researching the vaccine, I think.
Yeah. The W Series hater and Lewis Hamilton hater is not a Venn diagram. It is a circle.
That is a circle. But to be well, no, because there are W Series haters like Pippa Man and Sophia Flores who have both are on the record saying the W Series is stupid, just fund women in the normal channels. They don't need to have their own.
Well,
series.
that's a different kind of hater, though.
That's a different show. Like at some point, that's a.
I think that's
show.
a legit criticism, though. Like, think about how much monetary support has gone into building and creating the W Series. Where if you had attached that same monetary value to giving 4 to 6 really talented female drivers the opportunity to race in some of the top tier series, which of those things would have advanced women drivers in the sport more? Right?
You are absolutely correct. Because nobody outside of the hardcore motorsports fans are paying attention to the W Series. But you take, let's put it this way. You can't even find like the entry list for the W Series on their Wikipedia page. That's how much that's what this is.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like Paredes' entry at the 500 was so important, because it wasn't just, oh, let's go get some women to be over the wall crew. They trained. It was the second, like, they all worked day jobs and then busted their they really worked hard. Sorry, that was not jeez. They worked really hard to earn the over the wall opportunity, right? And they were legit there because they had the talent.
Now, here's the thing. I'm looking at the W Series drivers. At least 2 of them were in the road to Indy. Isla Agron and Bruna Tomaselli were both in USF 2000 a couple of years ago.
So fund them in USF 2000, kick them up to Indy Pro, give them a fully funded, like, you guys talked about how obvious it was in the paddock at New Jersey, which teams had the funding. Well, you know what? Get them the funding. Give them the opportunity. Like that, like if I hit the Powerball, like I would probably try and go be a driver and be like the bronze driver that destroys half the field at Daytona for like one opportunity to do that. And I said, no, let me fund some opportunity for racing some people that have not had that opportunity before.
Isn't destroying half the field at Daytona kind of your thing?
That hurts, Mike.
The W Series cars are essentially F4 cars.
F3. They're F3 chassis.
F3 chassis? Okay, so put them in F3.
Yeah.
Put them in Euro Formula. Put them in Formula Regional something. Put them in a series where they're competitive and it's not this weird...
Properly funded.
There's plenty of spare lights chassis running around out there. Fun 2 rides in lights.
TJ Speed picked up 2 of them.
The problem with that thought process is it doesn't give the FIA the face piece that they want. They're not actually interested in advancing the cause. If there's anything we know about
the FIA, they're interested in advancing the cause of the FIA.
That's correct. Look at this initiative that we're doing. We're giving these women a place to race. The reality is it's a marketing scheme and nothing more.
So the whole thing was that, and obviously the timing of, W Series getting going was, coincided with the pandemic and all that. So you have your first champion in Jamie Chadwick, and that's supposed to open the door to bigger and better things. And what's she doing? Racing in the W Series. There's just so much talent here that I feel is being wasted so the FIA can say, hey, look at us, we're doing something for women. Where in reality is they're funding this series, which it's 18 F3 chassis with all of the FIA funding. This is pocket change to the FIA. So the FIA can throw them a couple bucks and, cart them around to a couple of F1 races and be like, hey, look at us. we're advancing the cause of women in motorsport. Yet, where are their graduates? Nowhere. And the driver who publicly eschewed this and said, "No, I'm not going to do the W Series," is raced at Le Mans, is racing in the ELMS, she's racing in DTM, and she's not top tier. She's not in the best equipment. She's not the greatest driver, but she's out there doing the thing. And oh, by the way, she's doing the thing after having her back broken in an epic crash. And she said, "No, I don't want to do the W Series. It doesn't make any sense for me." And she's doing pretty good on her own, Sophia Florsch. Same deal like Pippa Mann. Pippa Mann has kind of struck out on her own with the sports car thing. I think she's just on the path to buying a car in some lower level sports car stuff. She just won a race at Watkins Glen. She's out there doing the thing, but it's I don't know. I get the idea behind it, but it's not doing them a service. It's just like, hey, yeah, we have this segregated league for women, and they're off doing their thing, and they can put a feather in their cap and say, hey, look what we're doing. And I don't know. This show has gone entirely off the rails.
Yes,
we should probably at some point talk about like Laguna Seca next week.
Yes.
And I'm running out of beers here in Blue Flag Studios.
To wrap this up, the discussion of silly season, my count has 30 cars. Now that includes 3 that are Indy only, which puts us to 27. But there is a very realistic possibility we could have a 27 plus car grid week in and week out next season. Game on, let's go. All of a sudden, that battle for 15th, you're not talking about Leaders Circle anymore. The Leaders Circle program may have to go away just based on the numbers of cars, and they're going to have to start paying race purses again. Because the race purse structure is about as pathetic as anything that exists in motorsports.
Hey, you won one of
like
17 races, you get $34,000.
Hey, I feel like you've been possessed by Robin Miller. That was one of his big causes, was race purses.
It quite literally pays $30,000 to win an IndyCar race outside of the 500.
Oof.
We pay dirt late models more. We pay 410 sprint cars more than we pay to win that race in Portland last weekend. Yes, it's sickening. But
I agree.
I'll get off the Miller soapbox here. Let's look ahead then. Laguna Seca, one of the most picturesque venues for IndyCar racing. Not necessarily the best for the racing itself.
Zanardi's pass should have been penalized.
Agreed.
Anyway, I'm really looking forward to watching the race. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a fun race to watch, just to look at Laguna Seca and go, oh, I stood there once. That's what I like to do. I like to point at stuff and go, I was there once. Look at that. That's me.
I like Laguna. Laguna's a good race. I mean, yeah, passing's kind of at a premium. Qualifying is going to be important. We'll have very little data for these cars. I mean, they ran 2019 was their big return after 2004. They didn't run last year. Herta pretty much romped away with the thing in 2019, if I remember correctly. There wasn't a lot of action. So
that is exactly what happened.
Yep.
But I mean, Hungary and Monaco are exciting. The Netherlands race
they're not.
It was mildly exciting. I think they are. Strategy will be fun.
Yeah, it's like Monica's super exciting, trying to figure out like who's walking into the casino and where the biggest yacht is parked, and
exactly.
Like Monaco 2018 was exciting because it was like, hell, how does Ricardo lose this one? And he didn't, because you can run around Monaco without the entire hybrid system in an F1 car and keep a fully functioning F1 car behind you because there's no place to get around.
like boring strategy races. I think they're fun. They're
It's even a
interesting.
strategy race.
Strategy's fun. It's interesting.
Well, here's where you have to ask the question of what do you see in the way of full course yellows, and how do they happen and when? Because that ultimately determines what the outcome of the race is. The fact that IndyCar, and also when IndyCar actually decides to throw the caution. If IndyCar had thrown the caution 45 seconds earlier,
all those guys wouldn't have been able to get in and off. Yep.
Correct.
So, and IndyCar has kind of started making conscious decisions that they're going to wait on a situation for guys to come into the pits, which means, and hear me out on this, that if you are consciously saying, we're not going to throw a yellow because there's a car on the racetrack that's not going to get going, and we're going to wait for people to come in and pit so we don't screw them with our stupid rule that the pits are closed as soon as the yellow comes out, maybe the rule should be changed. If you're engineering around the rule, just change the damn rule.
I understand the rationale behind behind closing the pits when the yellow comes out. It stops the drivers from driving like a bat out of hell to get back to the pits and try to get the pit work done that first lap under yellow, when they could be driving through the incident scene.
But if you're going to, by practice, leave the pits open by not throwing the yellow, aren't you then encouraging that exact behavior of people driving like hell to get to the pits before you throw the yellow?
The difference is when the safety vehicles can't roll until the yellow flag comes out.
It just goes back to driving standards again.
Yes.
These guys need to know.
Which is why I think we're going to have a pile up in Andretti next week on the first lap.
I think something stupid happens in Andretti. I think someone destroys their car at turn 6 by just hitting it just like a millisecond too early or late and getting it completely wrong, because that's how turn 6 is. I don't think there's any wrecks at the corkscrew. That's my prediction.
The last time?
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I don't remember any in 2019. Again, it's been 2 years. I drank a lot since then.
It's like this weird effect where you get so worked up about the corkscrew, and you're like, "Oh my god, I have to get through this safe. It's so insane." You hit it, you get it right.
You become hyper vigilant about it, and you do it right every time. And guys aren't gonna make
and turn 6
bottom
is
split
so,
rookie Miata moves through there.
Turn 6 is so like instantaneous that you're going to get people messing up turn 6 or messing up the turn directly. What is that? The rainy curve? Is that called?
Rainy curve's right after the corkscrew.
They're going to mess that up. They're going to mess turn 6 up. They're going to mess up around the corkscrew, not in the corkscrew.
I love turn 6. That is one of my favorite turns at Laguna.
Because
if you hit it just right, you hit it just right, you fly out of there. If you screw it up, you're either in the dirt or you've ruined your day.
You're turn 7. The left-hand kick coming up the hill. Yes, that's turn 7.
7?
Turn 6 is the 180 that's right before it. Because the corkscrew is 8 and 8A is what they're officially called.
Can we stop naming turns with sub-letter monikers?
How about we just name corners?
Oh no name corners.
But how is turn 9 at Portland a turn? It's a curved straight. Get out of here with that. By the way, Portland, it's not Monza of America. It's a flat right-hand oval with a couple left-hand curves in it.
A roval?
It is. It's a flat roval.
Lime Rock is a right-hand oval with one left-hand kink in it.
Lime Rock and Portland are twins.
All right.
Oh my God, we are so far off the rails. All right, let's review our picks let's review our picks from last weekend, because I'm sure this is going to be a fantastic dumpster fire.
I don't even remember what I did.
Actually, well, we made these picks like 6 weeks ago, so it's okay that you don't remember.
It's been a while.
Our potatoes of the week, or pineapples, or potato is something else that doesn't belong on pizza.
I will fight you on that one. There's a mashed potato pizza in Connecticut that is fantastic.
Anyway,
But you have to
wrong.
go to Connecticut to eat.
on to the picks.
All right, let's move
that's a
on
great
because this is
point.
getting weird.
All right. Ben, your loser of the week, Graham Rahal.
Oh!
He actually called the
I
position.
think that wins.
He called the position. He said he would finish 15th, so that makes you wrong. Graham Rahal coming home in the 10th position. Christian picked race winner Alex Palou to be the pineapple of the week. We won't pick on him tonight, though. Jason, you win, brother. Alexander Rossi for potato of the week with a fantastic second place finish. That makes you the big winner of losers. Mike, you had Simon Pagino coming home with a 21st place finish. And I selected Renus VK coming home in 17th. So, Mike, well done getting that pick right of Simon Pagino. And Jason nailed it, brother. Race.
Hey, how was I to know that Rossi was going to lose the anvil this week?
Really, of all the carnage that happened there, how did nothing happen to Rossi?
Right?
Like, he deserves something. Anyway, race winning picks. Ben had Colton Herta as his race winner. He finished 8th, so not real good. Christian had Scott Dixon as his race winner. He came home 3rd. Jason took Will Power in James Watson's steed, coming home 13th. Mike had Marcus Erickson, who had a solid 7th place finish. And I had Pato O'Ward coming home in 14th, which makes me the big loser on picking winners. Not totally sure what happened to Pato, quite frankly. He was just not there.
He didn't have a car he liked.
Yeah.
He did not like that car.
And he started 7th, too. So it's not exactly like he had a, terrible day or something.
He had no pace. He just had no pace.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of out there in no man's land. So congratulations, Christian Jasper, for your win in picking pineapples and anchovies last week. Now we're going to head off to Laguna Seca for, let me get the appropriate name of the race here. Try to do it once anyway. The Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. I don't like that
Fancy.
name. Yeah.
Did you have your pinky up there when you said that?
I should have. All right. Let's start looking at, yes, Mike's over here pounding beers with pinkies up, because that's the way you do it.
It's French. It's fancy.
It's something. Looks like we have James Watson back. He was unavoidably detained for a portion of the show here.
Hello.
So let's get ready to pick our winners and losers here this week. Let's see. Christian is obviously not here this evening. So that means the next pick in line for winners and losers belongs to Mr. Mike McCullen.
Where am I starting?
Let's
Loser or winner?
pick pineapples.
Okay, let's see. So many to pick from. I'm going to take the chalk pick here, and the official Blue Flag Studios pineapple of the week will be Let's go with James Hinchcliffe.
Really going out on a limb there, brother. Let's move to Ben Carswell. Who is your loser of the week?
I'm gonna go with
The fact
I
that
don't
this
know.
requires this much thought out of everybody is kind of disturbing.
Well, I just don't want to be a mean person, and kick someone when they're down, like Mike. I want to be nice about this,
so
so
call
I'll
him a
go
pineapple.
I'll go with Sato. I don't know. I just think he'll do something crazy and stupid. I just don't think he's
You
gonna
won't kick someone when they're down, but you're like, he's gonna do something stupid.
He's doing great. He's
known
fine.
for doing stupid things. And, well, okay.
Again, if I was
Just
Takuma
saying,
Sato, I would be in like the amateur category of Super GT, murdering everyone. I don't know why he's still doing this. I would be so retired by now.
Because he gets
Because
Borg
Honda's
Warner
paying him.
trophies.
Just hand it to him. Just
All
picks him up.
James, who is your anchovy of the week?
As much as I would like this to not be the case, I can't imagine that this
Power.
past race isn't a fluke for Rossi. I'd like for him to have another good run, but I get the feeling that his luck may turn for the worse again at Seika.
Not a bad pick. It's sort of in the blind squirrel finds a nut territory that he got a good finish last week. So, but we'll see here. Jason, who is your anchovy of the week?
Rosenquist.
Sounded so stern saying that.
I have a feeling he's going to do something really idiotic.
Like drive an old Dale Earnhardt stock car with Danny Rick?
No, that sounds glorious. That's not idiotic.
Sounds like a dream day.
No, the fact that Zach Brown's going to have that car detuned or something, because there is no way that Danny Rick is not absolute balls to the wall in this thing.
No, not only that.
Yelling,
can we
raise
like
hell,
segue?
praise Dale.
Right? Can we Zach Brown's out there going like, what classic race winning car can I add to my stable that I can then use to bet on with my drivers to incentivize them to get wins? Like next thing you know, he's gonna like roll a 787B into his garage and be like, "Hey guys, you want to hear this? You got to go win first before I fire it up."
And United Autosports win Le Mans next year.
Overall.
Oh. All right. I don't think Grosjean's going to suck again. And the last time I picked him to be the anchovy, he like damn near won the thing. I'm going towards the front here. We lose a championship contender next weekend, and it will be Joseph Newgarden.
I almost went with Joe New myself, but I couldn't quite pull the trigger on it. I think that's actually really wise.
They're going to start weeding themselves out. Is kind of the way I'm.
How does willpower take them out?
Hey.
Sorry, boss.
Yeah, not wrong.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right.
I mean, we had more Penske on Penske crime this race. It's like a weekly occurrence now.
That is true. Again, blind squirrel finds a nut. They were able to stay off of each other for 11 seconds. So we'll go now to our losers of the week last week to pick winners. That means Jason Owens, you're the big loser. You get to first crack at a winner to redeem yourself.
So Herta had a great performance here a couple years ago. God, it's been a long couple of years, but I've got to go. I got to back up my. Nope, I'm actually not going to do that because I'm not going to reverse jinx myself. I'm going to go with
taco for everybody.
Yeah, I think Dixon's going to find a way to pull off the win this week. And it'll actually just be Pillow wearing a Scott Dixon suit and a Scott Dixon livery.
The Dixon cosplay has worked so far.
That's true.
Does he get Emma too?
Oh man, you went there.
No comment.
We're gonna keep this almost family friendly. James, you would be next, but you're just gonna pick willpower anyway. So we'll write that one down and skip you. Ben, who's your pick to win next week in Monterey?
Colton Herta. Actually, I'm going to change that. Erickson.
Oh, you're killing me.
Herta felt too easy. It's too easy. I like to live in the edge. That's why I lose money when I gamble.
Remind us never to hang out with you. We're not taking you to Atlantic City next year when we go to NJMP.
Well, we were close enough anyway.
I know a great Howard Johnson's in Epseekin.
Just don't take the elevator.
You can erase the bed bugs.
Oh, God. We will tell that story someday. That will be an untold stories after the statute of limitations has expired. Mike, who is your pick to win in Monterey next weekend?
So I am going to go with Roman Grosjean. He's run there. He did some testing there before. He absolutely loved the place. It seems like a place that he would enjoy. So we'll go out and say the Frenchman wins on the West Coast.
That's actually a gutsy call. It is one of the few places he will have theoretically been back to, which he has seemed to perform well in those kind of situations. I am going way out on a limb. Let's see. Let's do something dumb.
No one's going to pick Herta.
How about we all guess what JJ's finishing position will be?
Okay, we can do that one. Let's get through. You know what? If we're going to do that, then I won't waste the dumb on this one. I am going, man, this is such a toss up. You realize that this entire group of IndyCar experts has not selected Alex Palou, Alexander Rossi, Pato O'Ward. Half the top 5 in points we haven't picked yet.
Yeah, because if we do, they'll somehow end up in a dip.
Yeah, everybody's avoiding the reverse jinx for the guys they want to win.
That's true. I'm going Pato. Tequila shots for everybody.
In before Jim Jam finishes ahead of Pato.
All right.
IndyCar experts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Term there, Chris.
right. Apparently, expert no longer requires 10,000 hours of experience.
It apparently requires no experience based on the crew that we've put together here. All right. We'll just go in alphabetical.
Beer in a microphone.
Yes, that is exactly what we are. Ben, where does Jimmy Johnson finish this weekend?
17th.
To be clear, you just picked a career best finish for Jim Jam.
That would be correct. I've also been a Jimmy Johnson fan since I was a toddler. So that is unrelated. Don't look at the number on the car in my profile picture on Discord either. It has nothing to do with this.
Wait a minute, Ben, how old are you?
I'm 21. I have been a Jimmy Johnson fan since I was a literal toddler.
What the? How am I older than you?
All right.
Why
James,
am I?
He's just dead. He dead. James, where does Jimmy Johnson finish this weekend?
Do you mind? I'm over here having an existential crisis right now. Good God. For all y'all haters, I'm saying he's gonna finish 15th. Suck it. This is the day he comes through.
with a 15th place finish.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, where does all 7-time finish?
Well, I thought I was going out on a limb and like the whole time I was going to predict an 18th place finish, which would be a career best for old Jim Jam.
Mike?
19th. Matches career high.
I've saved the stupid for last.
You're picking a podium, aren't you?
Jimmy Johnson's getting a top 10 this weekend at Laguna Seca.
I like it. I like how you're thinking.
That's a podium for him.
Hey, Chris, you may need to delete your account.
IndyCar experts.
IndyCar experts.
You know what? I am doing... One, it really doesn't matter for anything anyway. But at some point, the guy, he's too talented. He's been good in everything he's ever driven. He has to show some sign of, I don't suck. And we're starting to see little bits and pieces of that. And one day,
they used
it's
him as
going
an
to
example. In practice, they were like, "That's the thing to do."
Yeah, and it was Jimmy.
And it was Jimmy Johnson.
He ran legit, even though it was pit cycles and strategy. He was P6 in the race. Like he's, it's getting close. Like it would just take the right strategy and a caution to fall at the right time, and Jimmy would have a top 10 finish. I could see that.
If he's getting a top 10, it's going to be at Laguna. It will not be at Long Beach.
He's done a lot of.
He's gonna Detroit.
Long Beach. He's going straight into the.
Yeah, he's
wall
gonna
there.
Detroit it at Long Beach. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong.
And that's okay because he is still the fucking new guy of the IndyCar paddock. You're allowed to be the new guy. And at some point, though, I think it's gonna click. And
I mean, I think didn't he legit outrace Kellett for a while at one point this week? Like,
he's done that a couple of times this season.
Like
now, granted, that's been
progress
the battle for 22nd, but damn it, he can't suck forever. So I've got.
I
Jimmy
still
Johnson
think they should have let him
finishing.
do a season in lights.
There's not a chance he was doing lights. Good God. All right. In summary, summation, and review, Ben has picked Marcus Ericsson to be your race winner, Takuma Sato as the anchovy of the week, Jimmy Johnson finishes 17th, James has Will Power, obviously, and Alexander Rossi as the loser of the week. You sure you don't want to flip them? That's a very, okay. And Jimmy Johnson finishing in the 15th position. Jason has Scott Dixon winning the race, Felix Rosenquist as the pineapple, Jimmy Johnson finishes 18th. Mike says Romain Grosjean will be your race winner. James Hinchcliffe as your pineapple. Mike, do you want to flip those picks? Jimmy Johnson finishing 19th. I have Pato Award winning over and Joseph Newgarden accepting the cartoon anvil for the week, and Jimmy Johnson finishing inside the top 10. Boys, this was an absolutely epic dumpster fire of a show. Thank you very much. We do put the shit in shit show. Well done. Thank you, everybody. With that,
we're experts.
Allegedly.
I'm an expert.
Signing off.
Allegedly. For Ben Carswell, James Watson, Jason Owens, Mike McCullen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you very much for checking in with us. Maybe we'll talk to you after Laguna Seca if they let this group of idiots sit in front of a microphone again. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. See you later, everybody.